Your Excellency, allow me also to thank you most sincerely on behalf of the Muslim community for your efforts on inclusivity, which have seen more Muslim leaders appointed to various positions in your administration under the banner of the broad-based government. This has seen many Muslim leaders from diverse corners of our country, including from the Muslim community, being well represented in the governance of our country. Your Excellency, we also commend your tireless efforts towards fixing the political paralysis that have plagued our country since last year's Gen Z's protests. Indeed, your humility that you exhibited when you reached out to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga for the stability of our beloved country demonstrated that you are truly a statesman, keen in uniting the country despite of divergent political interests that both of you held prior, during, and immediately after the 2022 general elections. Knowing the opposing positions, it was very encouraging that both of you decided to set aside personal desires and agreed to work together for the common good of our country. As we speak today, Kenyans now feel a sense of stability and are hopeful that the government is going to deliver the promise of economic prosperity which they deserve. We will continue praying that you and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga remain true to your covenant to unite Kenyans despite their divergent cultural, spiritual, or intellectual backgrounds.
For nearly 2 decades, a silent policy of discrimination against Muslims in this country persisted in the issuance of the national identity cards. Under the guise of a vetting process, the acquisition of this vital document by Muslims was transformed from a right to a privilege. This process, unfortunately, bore the hallmarks of injustice against Muslims. Despite relentless calls by the Muslim leadership of the country, including appeals to the highest office of this country, our voices were largely ignored. Mr. President, today I stand before you on behalf of the Muslim population of this country to say to you a big thank you. And to express our heartfelt gratitude to you for listening to our cries and abolishing vetting for issuance of IDs to Muslims. We thank you for not only listening to our pleas, but also taking a decisive action to eliminate this discrimination policy. Even in the face of opposition from those who sought to maintain this unjust practice, you remained resolute and unshaken. This action will undoubtedly be one of the lasting legacies of your leadership that will be remembered by the Muslims for generations to come. Your Excellency, in the same stride, we humbly request that your directive be extended to the issuance of passports, where having a Muslim name is an automatic ticket for vetting. It is discrimination and gives a sense of feeling that we are less Kenyans and we are not. We believe that such practices have no place in our nation. We are Kenyans like any other Kenyan in this country. Your Excellency, we are hopeful that you will address this matter with the same commitment of justice and fairness.
It's indeed an honor to be here for this iftar invite. And I want to join the rest of the leaders who have acknowledged your recognition of the Muslim Ummah. It is now your 3rd year in office, and every year during the month of Ramadan, you've not failed to invite the Muslims here at the State House. This is indeed great honor, and we want to thank you very much. Secondly, I also want to agree with the leaders who said that your administration has indeed rewarded Muslim Ummah at every level of governance, be it in the executive, and indeed as recognized here by the Secretary General of UDA, even in the political arena and in the development sphere of our great nation, Kenya. Today, the road joining Isiolo to Mandera is in the process of being done, and contractors are all on site, and we want to acknowledge your effort in ensuring that there is no discrimination in any part of this country. Finally, and most importantly, the fact that you declared issuance of identity cards are going to be fair for every child in this nation is the very most important legacy you are leaving with the Muslims and indeed all the pastoral communities and the border communities in this nation who have been discriminated against. I want to say that to those whom much has been given, much is required. So for those of us who have been acknowledged and have been treated fairly by yourself, we want to pledge support to your administration and to yourself, Your Excellency.
Honorable Duale and I will recall, before the elections, hii muungano wetu ulifanya ahadi nyingi sana, especially kwa jamii zile za wachache na zilizotengwa. For the first time in our history, I even keep saying this all the time because kama Kainan, I have witnessed 4 governments. I was an activist during Moi's government. I was a senator partly during Kibaki's government. As a commissioner. I was a senator during Uhuru Kenyatta's government. And I am now Secretary General during William Ruto's government. This undeniably and undoubtedly is the best government the Muslims have had. 1, we have populated the ecosystem of government in all manifestations. Katika ulinzi tuko, katika siasa tuko, katika biashara tuko, katika kila ngazi za serikali na za kisiasa tuko. In fact, I think it is the empowerment of the minorities that has elicited such enormous reaction from those people who are entitled with this shareholding philosophy towards William Ruto's presidency. Lakini mimi nataka kukuashua, Your Excellency, this community stands by its word. Tarehe 7 February, when you gazetted or degazetted any discrimination against Muslims or any minorities or any corner tribes, that was the actual Independence Day for many of us since 1963. Kwa hivyo, Waislamu husema pale panapokuja ihsan, tutajibu na ihsan. Wewe usijali, katika hii maeneo yetu ya pwani, maeneo yetu ya kaskazini mashariki, I can assure you we will vote for you in our numbers to the very end.
Mimi kama sheikh ya dini ya Kiislamu na pia kama sheikh ya kisiasa, ningependa kwanza kukushukuru kwa sababu umetutambua, umetuheshimu. Na ule mtu ambaye amekutambua na amekuheshimu pia amekudhamini. Wamesema umetambua Waislamu, sio Waislamu peke yao, ni wale wamenyimwa haki yao tangu tulipata uhuru. That is the entire marginalized communities. Kwa hivyo ikiwa tuko hapa sisi ni Waislamu, lakini katika Waislamu pia kuna face ya Kenya, kila jamii. Kwa hivyo ningependa tushukuru kwa kutukubalia in resolving some of the historical injustices. Mambo ya kipande, nimesikia profesa saizi ameongea mambo ya passports. Mara ya kwanza ukipata kipande, passport ni rahisi. Ile kipangizi ya kwanza, ile shida ya kwanza ilikuwa ID. ID imepatikana, kwa hivyo passport itakuwa rahisi. Ya pili, Mheshimiwa Rais, sisi ambaye tunatoka mkoa sehemu ya Northern Kenya, kabla serikali yako tulikuwa na shida na walimu. Leo hii kila pembe sehemu yetu kuna walimu ya kutosha. Courtesy of 2 years affirmative action by your government. Siku karibu utatualika tuwapatie walimu sehemu zingine. Kwa hivyo tunasema asante sana.
I have proudly worked with many Muslim leaders. We have done many things together. We have built mosques together. We have built churches together. We have built madrasas together. And it is because we believe in God. And I want to encourage you as Muslims to continue not just believing in God, but doing something about it. Because we are all the better as a nation if we believe in God. A nation that doesn't have God in its equation is a nation that has no future. And I am very proud as president of this country that I lead a religious nation. And I want to tell you that we must never take it for granted that we have the freedom of worship in Kenya, and that we can worship God however we want. There are countries who do not have the privilege that we have. There are countries where religion is under pressure from politicians and from public policy. We are proud that in Kenya we share our religion freely and we work together freely. And I want to ask our religious leaders, let us celebrate the freedom of worship in Kenya. Let us not tusiingize kiburi katika mambo ya dini katika taifa letu. Taifa la Kenya tumebarikiwa na nafasi ya uhuru wa kuabudu katika taifa letu. Kenya hii, serikali, sisi zote freely tunaungana na dini, tunashiriki dini, tunafanya kazi kusaidia dini zetu. It is only in Kenya that religious leaders are opposed to people supporting religion. I wish they knew that there are places where religion is under siege from politicians and from public policy.